Thailand looks perfect on YouTube, but living here long term is different. This week the air was so bad that the government told us to stay inside. The traffic eats hours of your life. The strong Baht is killing the cheap Thailand dream. And one rule change can break your entire setup. I never noticed this on vacation, only after I moved here. Watch this before you sell everything and move to Thailand. What's up guys? I know that I usually talk about how affordable life is here and how good the lifestyle is here in Bangkok. But it's also important to talk about the negative parts of living here. There are things I wish I researched more or taken more seriously before I make the move. So in this video, I want to go over some parts of living in Bangkok that are not so great, so you know exactly what you are getting into before you sell everything and move to Bangkok. Let's get started. A couple days ago, I woke up and the air felt heavy. It felt like it was thick and with smoke. I looked out the window and I could barely see other buildings. My throat felt dry, my eyes were a little bit irritated, and the air just felt wrong. The pollution was so bad that the government sent a warning telling people to stay indoors and don't go out without a mask. PM 2.5 levels in Bangkok spiked way above healthy limits. In some districts, the level was double from what you consider safe. Officials classified the air as unhealthy and advise people to limit outdoor activities. What really hit me is that I never experienced this before when I used to come here to visit. Back then, the air always seems fine. I think it's because I used to come here for short stays, I would stay in different areas, or maybe I just happened to miss these days of heavy pollution altogether. I had never been here during periods in which the government literally tells people to stay inside. But living here long term changes that. When you are here for months, you just don't read about bad air days, you live them. You will feel it in your lungs, in your throat, big pause. You will feel it in your lungs, in your throat, in your skin, and that's when it becomes a real concern, especially if you are thinking about living here long term. There's plenty of research showing that long-term exposure to PM 2.5 is linked to heart disease, respiratory problems, and other serious health issues. Knowing that, it's very hard to not think about what breathing this air for 5 or 10 years can do to your body. So far, I haven't experienced any major health problems and I haven't had any respiratory issues. I pay attention, I wear my mask whenever it's needed, and I'm adjusting. But this has definitely changed how I think about living in Bangkok long term. That's why I've started looking into other regions of Thailand. I think I'm fine living in Bangkok for now, but if I decide to stay in Thailand for many years, I will seriously consider living outside of the city or moving somewhere with better air quality. So if you already have respiratory issues or your health is your top priority, this is something that you should really factor in before you move here. For some people, this alone can be a deal breaker. Air pollution is one of those things that you don't think about it until you actually live here long term. And traffic is another one. It's not something you notice when you're on vacation, but once this is your daily life, it starts draining you. And maybe I'm spoiled because I used to live in Taipei, which is a city that literally has no traffic compared to Bangkok. But coming from that, Bangkok feels like a nightmare. Here, everything takes longer than it should. A short trip that should take like 20 minutes, let's say from Unknown to Ramanai, can easily turn into a 40 or more minutes with traffic. And that's normal here in Bangkok. If you have an appointment at 8, realistically, you have to leave your house around 6:30. I'm not exaggerating. Here in Bangkok, I feel like there's always traffic. From around 9 a.m. to 2 p.m, traffic. Then again from 5 p.m. to like 9 p.m. or 10, same traffic. Only very late at night, there's no traffic and the city actually starts to move. Even calling a Grab, which is like the Uber here, takes forever. The car might take 10 or 15 minutes just to arrive, and then another 20 or 30 minutes just to get to your destination. Even if you order food, it can take forever during peak hours. I know what you are thinking. Maybe you can avoid this stuff if you live near the BTS or the MRT, right? I use public transport a lot, but the problem is that the worst traffic is usually in the city center, especially in areas like Sukhumvit, Saturn, and Ramanai. Now that I'm thinking about it, areas without BTS access have less traffic. But once you're in the core areas, then traffic is just part of your daily life. You might think that motorcycles are the solution, but that comes with their own issues. I actually used to ride motorcycle in Taiwan like for 10 years and I never felt unsafe. But Bangkok is completely different. For some reason, everyone here is trying to go as fast as possible. They have very little respect for red lights and safety here feels like an afterthought. Every time you take a Grab motorcycle, it's a coin flip. Some drivers are fine, but most of them are very reckless. most of the time they don't even offer you a helmet. That's why recently I've been thinking about getting my own motorcycle. Not because I want to ride faster, but because I want to have control of how I get around. I'm still thinking about it, but relying on random drivers doesn't feel safe long term. So if you are thinking about moving here, especially central Bangkok, you need to understand that traffic here will affect your time, your stress levels, and your routine. For some people, they can manage it, but for others, this can become one of the most draining parts of living here. Between the traffic and just getting around every day, you already lose a lot of time and energy here. And what makes that worse is how easy it is to be distracted once you finally do have free time. And this is something I already knew before moving here, but I didn't understand the real weight of it until actually I live in Bangkok. There is just a constant stream of things just pulling your attention. People inviting you out, new restaurants, new malls, bars, events. Someone is in town and wants to hang out. Someone else wants to travel to another city for a couple of days. Even just walking down the streets, there's always something competing for your focus. And I want to be clear, this is not a bad thing. Bangkok is exciting, and that's a major reason why people actually move here. The issue is how non-stop it is. Before Bangkok, I was living in Taipei, and during the week, the city was quiet. Monday through Thursday, it was basically dead. And that gave me space to focus on my work and personal projects. Then Friday, Saturday were like when things happened. There was a natural structure to the week, and productivity fit into that rhythm. Bangkok doesn't work like that. There's always something going on every single day. And because so many people here are digital nomads or are in a sabbatical year, like I will have friends inviting me to play paddle at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I want to go, it's fun, but that's still a distraction from the work I need to get done. These distractions don't ruin you overnight, but they slowly chip away your performance and your focus. You keep telling yourself that you will just work later, that you will catch up tomorrow. And if you are working remotely, that can turn into a real problem with your employer. In places like Taiwan, you know that Monday to Thursday is quiet. You get your work done, no excuses, and then you enjoy your weekend. In Bangkok, that structure doesn't exist unless you actively create it. Now, to be fair, some people can go out every single day and still perform at a very high level. It really depends on the person. But for me, this city is extremely distracting. So if you're extremely disciplined, you will probably be fine. But if you struggle with structure and focus, this is something you have to take seriously. Because if you are not careful, you can end up worse than where you started, even though you move here chasing a better life. And when you are constantly going out, eating out, doing more things, then the financial side starts to matter a lot. Which brings me to something I don't see enough people talking about. People are seriously underestimating the strong baht. A lot of Americans move here because their money goes further. When you are earning in dollars, Thailand has historically felt cheap. You could upgrade your lifestyle without upgrading your income. But that gap has been shrinking. The baht has strengthened close to 10% against the dollar, reaching levels we haven't seen in about 5 years. At the same time, prices inside Thailand keep creeping up. I'm talking about rent, food, services, nothing dramatic overnight, but enough that you start to feel it. Everything feels a little bit more expensive than it used to. To be clear, I still feel like I'm getting a lot for what I pay compared to other countries. Thailand is still cheap, but there has definitely been a price hike. And this is where I think people should be more realistic, especially Americans moving to Thailand long term. Thailand being cheap is not a fixed rule. It's tied to exchange rates, inflation, and how the economy evolves over time. If the baht keeps getting stronger and local prices keep rising, Thailand won't be cheap forever. Someone moving here today might be thinking in terms of current prices, assuming that the lifestyle will be affordable forever. But fast forward 5 or 10 years and the cost of living will be completely different from what you expect. I'm not saying that Thailand is suddenly a bad place to live. It is still a great option for many people and it still offers a great value. But it's no longer the no-brainer that it used to be purely from a financial perspective. So if your main reason to move to Thailand is cost, you need to think about it long term. Don't assume that today's number will be like this forever. Run the math, build some margin, and be honest about whether this move makes sense for you if things get more expensive over time. And once you start thinking about money more seriously here, you quickly run into another issue: banking. The last thing I want to talk about is banking. And honestly, I wish I understood how annoying this will be before moving here. As you guys might know, I'm here on a DTV visa. When I was doing my research, DTV holders will still open bank accounts without any major issues. So I started visa process, got approved, and I started preparing to move to Thailand. And then out of nowhere, things changed. Suddenly, I'm seeing news about foreigners' bank account being frozen, banks stop allowing DTV holders to open bank accounts, and it's one of those situations in which you don't absolutely need a bank account here in Thailand, but in practice, it makes your life way easier. Thailand is very QR code based. A lot of places expect bank transfer or local payment first. You can still use your credit card, but they usually have fees. I've seen 3%, 5%, 7%, and even some 10% fees just to pay with your credit card. Rent here is usually paid via bank transfer. Same thing with some utilities, for example, water. Without a Thai bank account, everything becomes a workaround instead of something simple. Sometimes I want to send myself some money, and without a local bank account, the only option I have is just go to the ATM and withdraw the money. But there are daily limits plus withdrawal fees. It works, but it's inefficient. Now, to be clear, this is not a deal breaker. You can live here without a bank account. I have done it before. And if you are on other visas, you are probably fine. This is mostly an issue for DTV holders right now. And I know there are a few workarounds if you don't have a Thai bank account. You can use services like Morera Pay that lets you pay Thai QR codes without a Thai bank account. True Money and tourist wallets also work, but honestly, there are more friction than I would like. None of them fully replace having a local bank account. The bigger lesson here is that Thailand changed policies fast. I did my research and I was correct at the time, but rules change and they don't always give you a warning. That's why I always tell you people, if you are serious about moving here, don't assume that today's rule will apply tomorrow. And to be fair, even if I knew that I wouldn't be able to open a bank account, I would have still moved here. It's not a huge problem, it's just annoying. But it's one of those small frictions that adds up, especially when you are settling here long term. If you are seriously thinking about moving to Thailand, I got condo tours showing you what places actually cost and what you actually get for your money. I will link those below. And if you want more honest, no BS breakdowns like this one, remember to subscribe. And if you want deeper insights, private condo info, and additional perks, consider becoming a channel member. That's where I go deeper on things that I don't always speak about publicly. Let me know in the comments what is one thing about moving to Thailand that you are unsure about. I will read the comments and make a video based on that. See you guys on the next one. Up anymore. I know you only want me when you're drunk and feeling lonely. Don't text me things you don't